We all know about the concept of the single point of failure. It's that one thing, that one little thing that if it goes wrong, it doesn't matter how many other things went right, your plans will fail. The just classic example of this concept is the Death Star. That thing was a huge planet-killing machine, fully staffed, fully funded, and fully operational. And was being defended by two evil space wizards on top of that. But a moisture farmer no one had ever heard of gets off one lucky shot, or you could say he used the Force, and boom, the whole thing blows up. Another good example is the One Ring. Sure, Sauron had lost the Battle of Gondor, but now what few remaining heroes Middle-earth had were gathered at the Black Gate of Mordor, mere seconds away from being overwhelmed by massively superior numbers. When Gollum fell into the fires of Mount Doom, the ring was destroyed, and in an instant, decades of army building and secret behind-the-scenes machinations were ruined by that one single point of failure. Ashes is the Death Star for all intents and purposes. It's fully funded, fully staffed, well thought out, and at the head is a man who is a long time MMO fan who is well aware of the decades of disappointment felt by us MMO fans. It should be unbeatable. Its success in the genre should be a foregone conclusion, and it still might come to pass. But they have one major hurdle they have to get over. Let's assume the game launches in the next couple of years. It has all of the features that have been promised. The graphics and animations are great. The launch goes as smoothly as can be expected with a major MMO launch. The game is relatively bug-free, and that hybrid tab targeting action combat system they've been talking about works well. But the node system, for one reason or another, doesn't engage the player base. The entire game falls apart. It's just like the ring falling into the fires of Mount Doom. You see, as I pointed out in at least one of my previous videos, the node system is interwoven through quite literally all of the game's other systems. The caravans, artisan system, the castle sieges, raiding, open world PvP, the share market, and many others. They all require the node system to not only be there, but be an active and engaged part of the game for them to work the way they are intended to work. There are a few ways I can think of that the node system could go wrong. To start with, it could just not be fun. Maybe they make leveling up nodes too monotonous, or maybe they make it feel too much like work, or maybe they make it way too easy for rival nodes to undo the work that they've done. The fun is sucked out of the system, so no one engages with it. Or maybe it's just too complex and the average player just doesn't have the time or desire to interact with it. Or, and I find this to be the most likely scenario and a legitimate concern, what if a few high-end guilds with large member bases and very high organization take control and basically lock down the entire system? Nothing changes. All the nodes are what they are, and no one is allowed to interact with the nodes through sheer brute force. This is exactly what happens in all those PvP survival MMOs like Ark and Rust and Last Oasis and so on. The biggest guilds clamp down the entire map, leaving smaller groups and solo players no choice but to join one of the few already established guilds, or literally not even be able to have a one-by-one shanty on the beach to call home. But any which way it happens, be it one of my three concerns or some other way that I haven't even thought of, if the node system is not accessible, not something that players are logging in every single day to interact with, what separates Ashes of Creation from Black Desert Online or Elder Scrolls Online or Guild Wars 2 or hell even ArcAge? If I'm a current Black Desert Online player, which I'm not, but let's just pretend I am, and I've already spent a year or two playing, and I've got 2 more years of playing before Ashes releases, and then once it's here, it's effectively the same thing as BDO, an open world PvP game with something that resembles action combat? Why would I leave? I've got at least 4 years of time invested already. It's nearly impossible to pull players away from established MMOs. You're fighting against the sunk cost fallacy, high time preference, hell, biology itself. You've got to bring something new to the table, which is exactly what Intrepid is trying to do with Ashes. I guess time will tell if Ashes, just like the Death Star, blows up in their faces.